want everybody to make sure they have plenty of time to get out there. If you didn't vote early, polls can be busy depending on where you live. And so always take time to do that. I don't care who you vote for. It is your right to exercise. If you don't vote, you can't really complain because you didn't do anything. That is a big thing, not doing anything. Um, so that's something that we're going to talk about. People are getting those appointments set up for their resumes, going in, talking to the people in career services, making sure you have that resume. Resumes are what we call living documents. They are never one and done. Okay, so you're going to do a resume, and we talked about this before, and that you are customizing those every time you use them. So they are never, I did one, it's done, it's good, it's perfect. They are never like that. Every time you look at them, there are always ways to improve on them. So that resume assignment not only was setting up the appointment worth 100 points, but when you have that resume looked at with them, they are signing off, and that's what you're turning in this week. Is that signed resume? That's another 100-point assignment. So if you don't do it, you're missing out on 200 points there. Now, coming up this week, you're going to set up a second appointment with Career Services. This will be for a mock interview. So it's going to be kind of the same thing. You're going to get 100 points for setting up the appointment. Then you're going to get points for showing up and doing that actual mock interview. Now, those mock interviews can be done virtually if there's absolutely no way you can get in, but that arrangement's going to be between you and Career Services. I'm going to explain that a little bit more. Now, if you don't do the mock interview, you don't get the points for doing the appointment. You don't get the points for the interview. There is a third follow-up assignment based on that. So that'll be another 300 points you will miss out. This class means a lot to the college. It's very important. At the end, 65% to pass the course. You don't pass the course, you get to come back probably with another instructor. Okay, I'm not playing games with this. This course is just as important as any other course. Online courses are just as important as any other course. Everybody here is an adult. This is college. I'm not chasing people for assignments. Does everybody understand that? Everybody got that? All right. So I know yesterday came off as sounding a little agitated, and that's because some people are just not participating. And you know, again, I can't chase people. I can't make people listen and that, but I want to give you some practical advice on how some companies work and why these resumes and things are so important. Okay, so some companies that I have had to help out because I do get hired out as a consultant and that. Give you an example. This happens in the electrical trade a lot. It happens in the welding trade a lot, and it happens in HVAC a lot. It also happened not too long ago in the veterinary field. Banfield of VCA took over a lot of veterinary centers, and they did the same thing. So what they do is they go in and they acquire a bunch of small mom and pop company all at one time. They go through and they buy a bunch of them at one time. And the whole purpose is they want the client base. Okay, that's it. Bigger companies want the client base. So what they do is they go through and they acquire everything. And then they bring the employees in one by one and they ask you to rate all your coworkers. Okay? They give you a list of your coworkers and you're to rate them top to bottom. Who's the best? Okay? They bring in every employee one at a time. Have you in there. You rate all your coworkers top to bottom. Then they compile that list, and the top so many, they bring those in, and they want their resumes, and they're going to give them a test. Okay, so they're going to do a skills test on them after looking at the resumes. If they don't have a resume or they don't have a current resume, they're not going to bring them in. They're out of the running. Out of those top people, the ones who perform the best on the test and have the best resume, those are the ones that are guaranteed they're going to keep. Do you see where this is headed? And it's not just one company, it's out of all the ones they've acquired. Then once they have this list, they're going to take those people and they're going to ask them, who do they want to keep on their team? Now, how many people remember talking about reputation and brand? We just talked about this. How many people remember that? So now you have people at the company you're working at talking to people at the other companies, and they're talking about your reputation, their brand, and they are working with them trying to come up with teams. Now, if they acquired 5 companies, they may be working themselves down to a team that's only going to have partial people from each one of these 5 companies, and the rest are going to be let go. That resume and your brand are going to be what's going to carry you through. Job markets are not one and done. You may want to be moved up in your company, and they will say, anybody who's interested in this next position, give us your resume. Okay. Just because you're in a company does not mean that you will not have to turn in a resume. So you need to be prepared to always update it. When you get a position, update your resume, update your social medias, etc. So this is what we mean by a living document. It changes as you go. It changes as you grow. And that's why it's imperative that you have a great foundation to start with. Does everybody understand this? This is why we do these assignments, so you have a great one to start off with, and this is why we want you to keep it going. And that's how you keep improving. All right? So that's the purpose behind that. And that mock interview, when you go in for that mock interview, I'm going to discuss this here in a minute. So kudos yesterday to everybody that did that question where you went in and you checked your grade and you actually evaluated what was going on. How many people checked your grade after doing that assignment? Some of you found some surprises. Somebody got some good news here and there. There was a reason for that self-evaluation. We need to check ourselves, see what's going on, where we could improve, not just in class, but where we are in our careers, because we get tunnel vision. How many people don't like being told what to do? I don't. I know I'm not the only one. We don't like to be told what to do. We get stuck in our track. We are the ones that are right, and we don't want to hear anything else. That's kind of human nature. We kind of like to hear that. And so sometimes we need to step back and take a look at ourselves and say, yeah, kind of stuck that way. And so I was kind of stuck that way yesterday. I got really kind of irritated because I want you to have this information, and some people just won't budge. Okay, they won't budge. I can't do anything. I can't make people do things they don't want to do. All right. So I had to step back, and somebody had to point that out. And I'm glad they did. And I thank them for that. So sometimes we do have to do those self checks. All right. So we're going to start off with screen share. Um, it's going to be a little bit shorter today because, like I said, I want to give you some extra time. And when I give you the extra time, uh, take that time to catch up on some things. Okay. So yesterday we had this elevator pitch, and a lot of people haven't done this yet. But I do want to point out, even though it gives instructions on how to do it as a recording, you do not have to do it as a recording. You can do it written out. Okay, some people don't want to record themselves or put it out there. I do recommend you read it so that you know you're following within that 30 seconds to a minute. So that way you know how it's going to sound when you give it. Because you should memorize this. Because remember, this is your answer. Why should I hire you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. So when you go into that interview, boom, you have this answer. But for the assignment, no, you do not have to record yourself. You can actually do it as just written out, okay? And so If you want to do it that way, that's quite all right. That is perfectly acceptable. And so either way, you're going to click on the green Start Assignment button. And if you're going to upload a video, that's where you click Upload. And then once you do that, you'll say Choose File, and it'll open up the files on your system. If you want to do it as written out, you can say Text Entry, and you can type it here. Or if you did it in Word, you can upload that Word file or whatever you wrote it in on that file upload there, just like you would a video. Okay, everybody got that? When you write that elevator pitch, you're going to use that over and over and over. Okay, that is your introduction when you're networking. You're going to come up and say, "Hi, my name is so and so. This is who I am, what I do, bum, bum, bum." It is used over and over. So make it good and do it one time. It saves you from having to sweat it out. So it may seem like an uncomfortable assignment, but how many people would rather do something uncomfortable one time than have to do something uncomfortable every time? How many people would rather do it one time as opposed to every time? Anybody? Yeah, saving you the effort. I never sweat that question because I've got my own elevator pitch. I do that. Okay. So today we're going to talk about your worst interview ever. Okay. So you're going to come in here. I want to hear about your worst interview ever. I could tell you one I had. I went for an interview at a veterinary office because somebody from that office had come in, seen me where I was working, and begged me to come interview there. I did go there. Anybody here? I think Jenna, you're in vet assisting. Anybody else in the vet field? Common when you're in the vet field, you do working interviews. They have you come in and work a shift or so with them to make sure you're going to fit in. Translation, they get you to work for free for a shift. And so I went there. I'm working the front desk and everything. I'm setting up appointments and this with the person. And then pretty soon they go to the back and they never come back out. Then I notice there's no techs around. I'm still setting appointments. I'm filling prescriptions. I'm doing everything. And I go to the back. I find the veterinarian. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? I can't find anybody." And they're like, "Well, you're doing such a good job. We sent everybody else home early." They literally sent the techs home. They sent everybody else home. I was running their office for them. Now, I had been an office manager. I had been a tech. I had done that. I was experienced, but they were using me to run their office for free. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm here for an interview and you're having me run your shift. So you gave everybody the day off. And that was it. I went up to the front, picked my stuff up, and walked out. That was the worst interview ever. And then I found out if I wanted to work there, I had to sign a paper agreeing that I would go to their church every Sunday. Yeah, every employee there had to agree to go to their church every Sunday, which was illegal. So that was the worst interview, excuse me, that I ever had. So tell me, what's your worst interview? And if you've never had an interview, what do you think you would have to do to have the best interview? Or if you've never had a bad interview, what was the best interview you've ever had? So either way, you're going to respond to this. And so click your reply, tell us about it. So nice little discussion so people can find out what it's like. There's been some bad interviews out there and good ones as well. The other one, this is the one I told you about, schedule that mock interview. Now, when you go to this interview, this is serious. You'll take that resume that you've worked on with career services with you. You dress the part like an interview. They're going to ask you career related questions. You're going to be evaluated as though you were in the real interview. You're going to find out how you truly perform. Are you wiggling? Are you sitting up straight? Are you answering questions fully? Are you just going, yeah, no, uh, are you mumbling? Are you dressed properly? This is the closest evaluation to actually being in the live interview as you can possibly get. You're going to find out what you're doing extremely well and other areas that you need to improve upon. Okay, so find your campus again and set that up. All right. Now, if you've already got an appointment to go there this week for that resume, you might be able to double up. Some campuses will let you double up and do that resume and the mock interview, but most of them want you to come in twice. Career Services wants this assignment. You'll notice everything's done by them. What will happen is after you have this interview, they are going to send me the grade. Okay, everybody got that? Career Services gives me the grade on this assignment. I do not get the grade, they give it to me. Okay, your grade is coming from them. I will report this grade afterwards. Okay, so today you get the points for setting up the appointment. Okay, then when you do the actual interview, there are assignments based on it afterwards. Okay, I get confirmations back from them when you show up for these appointments. Okay, any questions on the mock interview? Now, I understand that sometimes people's schedules do not work. And if you can only do a virtual interview with them, contact them and let them know. Let Career Services know what your limitations are. If that's the case, that's between you and Career Services. Again, this is an assignment that they wanted. Okay. Now, later in the week, that interview person that you named last week, this is where tomorrow you're going to put in the results. You're going to come in here, you're going to hit start, and you're going to do text entry, and you're going to type in your results here, or you can upload a Word document, etc. Okay, this should be a 250 word summary. If you're answering the questions that you ask them, you'll easily hit 250 words. Okay, so you should know things. What did you learn about your career field? Any insights, any new things? You know, what type of information did you ask and did they respond to? Make sure you include the name of the person and their position in your information. Okay, not just the first name of the person. Who did you talk to? Okay, now at least one person will try to do an AI interview in here. I run 6 AI checkers. Don't do that. Okay, come on. Do your own work. Your own work is better than any artificial work. You're here for a reason. Learn about your career, real information. This is like a mentorship when you get this information. Does everybody understand how valuable the information from people in your career field is? This is true to life. You want reality, talk to the people in your field. This is called informational interviewing. This is what you do when you're networking, when you're talking to people in your field. Okay? Almost 80% of the best jobs that are out there are never listed. 80% of the best jobs are never listed. You find out about them through networking, going to trade shows, talking to people in your career, word of mouth. This is the way to get to it. your social media account. Okay, this is the way to do it. Sounding like the Mandalorian. This is the way. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing tomorrow. Thursday, we will have a guest speaker. Anybody on here from Orlando? Anybody representing Orlando? No Orlando students on? Princess Phillips from the Orlando Career Services Department will be on Thursday. She's going to be doing a guest speaking, and she's going to be talking about interviewing, etc. So she's going to be our guest speaker on Thursday. So she will be asking you questions and everything, doing our live speaking on Thursday. That's where you turn in your signed resume. Go in here, click Start Assignment, and upload your picture of your resume right there. Click Upload, choose your file, upload that picture of that resume. If for any reason you can't figure out how to get it in through here, you can text me or not text me, email. Do not text. That text number does not take pictures. So email that resume to me. I will attach it for you. Okay. And then, of course, the midterm, and right off that home page there, under that help button, there's your study guide. All right. Everybody good so far? Yes, yes. All right. So today's lecture could be very long, but I have broken it in two. Okay, so we're going to get part of it today and part of it tomorrow because I don't want to be here forever killing you with too much information at one time. That just wouldn't be very good to do. I would rather have it broken up and have you get a little bit at a time. So here we go. And we are talking about preparing for the interview. Interviewing is one of the most stressful things that you can have to do. How many people think interviewing stressful? Anybody out there think interviewing stressful? They hate it, don't like it. Yeah, not a favorite thing to do. How many people feel like they're not in control in an interview? You go in there and you're kind of like you're on trial or something, and kind of, you know, you're at their mercy. Okay, so we're going to try to change that around as we go through here. I want you to think about how much control you have, okay, and some of the things that actually happen, okay? So there's three types of job interviews, which you might be invited to, and information about research for employers. You need to know about them before you go in. We're going to talk about in-person and virtuals, types of questions, and examples of questions you can ask. You need to be asking them, and ways to prepare for this interview. Good interviews don't just happen. You should be prepared for them, okay? Because some point you're going to be invited to go to an interview, okay? This is their opportunity to get more details. They saw something on that resume and that application that makes them want you. Remember, they already want you. There's something about this that they're going, hey, I think there's something about you. So automatically, there is something that you have going for them. So it could be a phone call or an email. Always make sure if you're applying that when you see these message or phone calls come in from odd numbers, either you let them go to voicemail and then you hear the message, or you answer politely, okay? Don't be picking up the phone call and going, who dis? Okay? I've had that happen. I call people to do an interview with them, and they're like, who dis? Why you calling? I don't want to be talking to you. Don't you be calling here. Before I could even say anything. Do you think I called and left a message or requested them for an interview? Nope. They could have been the top candidate, and now they are not a candidate at all. So be careful if you are out there applying and you're getting phone calls from numbers you're not expecting, this could be why. Okay, so understand that. Emails, you should have a separate email strictly for the job process because you need to know when those are coming in, and you should be checking it daily or multiple times a day. When they call, be polite. Okay, one of the best things you can do, smile. Smile when you're talking on the phone. I know you think you're going to look stupid, but when you smile, it causes you to pronounce things better. You articulate better. In companies I worked with, they used to make us put mirrors on our desks, and everywhere we worked, there was a phone because we had landlines, I know, antiques. And the reason being is when you smile, it forces you to speak out. How many people do you know people who speak Spanish or Italian or any language other than English? How many people know that? Okay. Those are what we call smiling languages. Okay. Old Romance languages, because the vocabulary causes you to smile. Now, how many people say that those languages, they tend to be louder than English? Would you agree? They tend to be a little bit louder than English? Yeah. Okay, I grew up in Panama. You may not realize that. I grew up in Panama, okay? So we tend to be a little bit louder. And the reason being is that smiling causes you to project. So this is why when you're talking on the phone, you need to project. Don't be going, hello, this is, and you're mumbling, okay? Does that make you want to hire somebody? So you need to realize what you're sounding like on the other end, okay? So express interest, okay? Sound like, hey, I really am interested in getting this job, okay? Make sure you get all the details. Know exactly where you're going. Write it down, type it out, the exact place and time. Don't be late. Confirm the name of the person you will meet with. Okay? Not knowing the name when you get there, that's disrespecting them. Okay? Make sure you have every document you need. You need to have multiple copies of that resume. You need to have multiple copies of your references. Make sure you have your driver's license or ID. Make sure you have everything with you. Not, oh, I forgot that. Oh, this. If you're already making excuses at the interview, what are you going to do if I hire you? You're going to be a ball of excuses. Okay? Respond immediately to email. If you respond 3 days later, I have 3 days worth of interviews already ahead of you. If you'll get to me later, I'll get to you never. Okay? Strike while the iron is hot. Do it immediately. And follow netiquette. Netiquette is etiquette on the network. Okay? Be proper. No slang, no street, be proper. Thank you. Use uh, punctuation, uppercase, lowercase, periods, commas. Most email systems will have spell checkers and grammar checkers in them. Okay? And again, confirm everything. If you're no longer interested, respond back and say, thank you for the offer of the interview. I am no longer interested in this job at this time. Okay? Because there could come a time where you need to do something with this employer later. All right? Don't burn those bridges. So there's three types: screening, structured, and unstructured. Okay? Screening is just that. This is a preliminary informal interview. So they're going to call you, possibly talk to you, and they're going to ask some simple questions about your skills, experience. and availability. Now, never tell them that you can do any shift if that's not true. How many people know people like this? They hire somebody, they're like, oh, I can work any shift. Okay, we need you this Saturday. Oh, I can't do Saturdays. Okay, we need you Friday. Oh, I can't do Friday. Okay, how about Monday through Thursday? Oh, I can't do Monday through Thursdays. Well, what days can you work? Well, I can do Tuesday between 1 p.m. and 1:05 p.m., but I want to be paid 40 hours for it, and I need a break during that time period. Really? Okay, well, that's not going to work for anybody. So be honest at all times. If you're not available during certain times, you're not available. Okay. You don't have to give detail as to why, just I'm not available during that time. Okay. Now, these screening interviews a lot of times are not done by where you're going to be working as far as in the department. This is somebody who does the hiring or the recruiting for them. Okay. And they're trying to get the list down before they do the actual sit down interviews. Okay. Now, those sit down interviews might be virtual or they could be physically in the same area, and they fall under two different types. One is a structured interview. Now, these are formal and they can also be called a directive interview, and everybody gets the same questions. And the reason why everybody gets the same questions is so they can compare them side by side. So they sound very formal, they're not very friendly, they don't allow you to be yourself so much. Okay, but everybody gets treated exactly the same so they can compare them exactly the same. A lot of new managers do it this way because they don't know how to structure an interview and be anything else other than, okay, question one, blah, 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 question two, blah, blah, blah. Okay, not a lot of thoughts put into the interview. The most common one, though, is an unstructured one. They're less formal. And each candidate gets a different set of questions, and it's based on your answers. They sound more like a conversation. Most people are getting these. Have y'all typically get these type of questions? They sound almost like they want to be your friend, but they don't. This is pretty common. Okay. And these, they want to get to know your personality. And part of that is because they need you to work with a group of people and they want you to kind of give a little bit of that personality. That unstructured interview gives you a chance to shine a little bit, to show who you are. But again, you need to speak up, not mumble, not fidget, and be sitting upright, not slouching, not trying to avoid, and that eye contact. But that eye contact can be very nerve wracking. So look at the center of their forehead. Okay. If you're looking at that forehead, it gives the impression that you're looking at them and you're not. Okay. How many people go to concerts or any live situations? Anybody ever go to one of those? Yeah. And the people are like, oh, they sang to me. They sang to me. No, they didn't. They look at people's foreheads if they can see you at all. When they're on that stage, they can see only about 3 to 4 feet in. Everybody else, they're just kind of looking at their foreheads, not bursting bubbles. They just can't see you. Okay. But the way they look out, it gives the impression they are looking at each and every one of you. Same thing in an interview. Look at that forehead right about the center, and it gets the impression you're looking them straight in the eye without being as uncomfortable as it can be. Okay. And that helps out a lot. It gets your point across. Okay. How many people research your companies before you apply? Anybody doing company research? Okay, got a couple. Always research those companies. Orlando's worse than Tampa, but Tampa's getting worse. Some of these companies aren't real. So they seem very real. You go for the interview, you fill out the application, you go to the job site, you work for 2 weeks, and then you go to get paid and there's no money. company's fake. They got 2 weeks worth of work out of you and you get no money. They don't have a physical address, nothing. And on top of that, they may have sold your information, such as your social security number, etc. This is a reality. Research a company, find their website, check to see they have legitimate addresses. Okay. See where they're going. Are they close to bankrupt? Are they expanding? Do they have multiple sites? Okay, if they have multiple sites in that interview, will I be working at this location and will you possibly need me at the other locations? Because you may have transportation issues. You might not be able to go to those other locations. And now, will that be an issue if you get hired? Okay. What products do they have? What services? How big are they? Are they doing financially well? Who are their competitors? You want to know this information because you're going to let the company that or the person who's interviewing, you're going to say, so I understand that you have 4 locations and you're going to be opening a fifth one. That fifth one's going to be closer to me. Would I be able to transfer to that one? Or I see you've been growing every year. Along with this growth, would I be able to get better training and move up? Do you see where you need this information in the interview? Does everybody see that? That interview is not just for them to ask questions. You take control of the interview. You turn it back on them. I see where you are. How is this going to benefit me? Okay. Now, one of the answers I like to give for the question, and how many of you hate this question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? How many people hate that question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? How many people hate that question? My answer to that is I see myself in your position and moving you up further in the company. See what I just did there? I'm not only going to get hired here, I'm going to take your job and I'm going to promote you up the ladder. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to take your position, and I'm going to push you up. That's how you do that. They want that. They want you to tell them what you plan to do for them. Not, well, I want to buy this, I want to do that. They don't care about your personal life. Nothing in this interview is about you in your personal life unless they say, tell me about your hobbies or something very specific. Everything is work related. So many people blow the interview because they throw their personal lives in to work related questions. Okay. Where do you want to be? Well, I would like to see myself, or they say they want to be with another company. Do you think I want to hear you want to be with another company? You're going to come in here, I'm going to train you, and then you're going to leave? Hiring and training are the company's are their largest expenses. So you're going to tell me you're going to cost me a lot of money and then leave and go somewhere else. No, I'm going to stay here, move up, and push you further along. Okay? And you want to know who their competitors are because they may be friends with their competitors. Companies need competition. Now, you are the focus. It's all about you. And they're going to ask you questions that may make you uncomfortable. Don't let it. Nobody knows you more than you. You know everything about you. Now, some people have things in their past they would rather not have people know, but that's okay. Don't run from it, own it, and say, I've done some things in my past, but I am moving forward because that's the direction I'm headed. Do you see that? There are things in my past, but I'm moving forward. Turn it around. I am going forward. My past is not where I'm at now. Anything in my past, that's there. This is where I'm at now, and I'm going forward. And I'm looking for a company that will move forward with me. Nothing in that interview can slow you down if you don't let it. Okay? So everybody got that. Don't let it get in your head. You are not your past. You are your future. You're going forward. Okay? Now, they not only do these face to face, but they do them remotely too. So, an in person interview, of course, everybody's in the same location. Okay? Now, usually you go to the company office, but sometimes they rent like uh, space at a hotel or a convention center things, and they do what we call remote location, but they're still in person. Sometimes they do this because they're going to be interviewing for a lot of positions. Maybe they're opening a new branch, or they don't want people to know they're hiring new people. So that's possible too. Or how many people have had this? A panel interview. Anybody had a panel interview where you go in and there's a group of people interviewing you at one time? Anybody have that? This is a possibility. So you go in, and this is why you take multiple copies of your resume with you. And you may have 4 or 5 people in that room interviewing you all at one time. And they can all ask questions. And the reason why they're in there is that may be the team that you're going to be working with. And they want to know if that team likes you or don't like you, or they see issues that may be present, or they see things that they really, really want you to be part of them. You answer each one's questions just like you would a single person. Okay? Everybody got that? Do you see how you can turn these questions that they ask in your favor? Okay? You are in control at all times. You maintain control. You let them know, this is what I know about your company. This is where I'm going to be in the future in your company. You keep turning it back on them. This is why you have that elevator pitch. I know who I am. I know where I'm going to be. You walk in with this information ahead of time. You have that prepared. So today, what is your most hated interview question and why? You need to know the question and the why. I want to know both. All right. So that's the thing there, both the question and the why. Because that's important. Not just, I don't like this question, but why don't you like it? What is it that is setting you off about that particular question? Because I know I have questions that I don't like, and don't think that interviews are ever 100% easy for anyone. They're not easy for me. I still get nervous about them, but I know once I am in there, I have these questions. I do that research. This same technique that I'm telling you is the same technique everybody goes through for interviewing. It doesn't matter if you're going for a CEO position or if you're going for a janitorial position. You want to do the best you can at all time, and you're going to do the best job at all times because you always give 100% because that's your brand, that's your quality, that's your reputation, and you never give less than 100% in anything you do. All right. Any questions today? Everybody good? Yes, yes? We're all good? All right. So that got us out a little bit earlier today. Again, it is voting day. I don't care who you vote for, what you vote for, how you vote for. Please take the time to do so. And everybody be good out there. Everybody be safe. Get that attendance in before 10 p.m. tonight, and we will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.